Welcome to Playing with Literacy. I'm Dr. April Yorke, speech therapy mom, and this is my friend Nina. Nina, you had some questions for me about what we teach and kind of how we teach it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was wondering why we teach these specific skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really great question. You know, why do we teach letter sounds and blending and segmenting? There are a lot of sound awareness skills that we could be teaching to kids. There's rhyming and alliteration, and which is knowing kind of the first sound in each word. And all of those are great skills, right? But as a mom, I'm going to kind of focus my energies on the ones that are most closely related to reading and writing. So let's think of how to read a word. So here's the word man here, right? If I'm going to read this word, what's the first thing I'm going to do?
Sound out the letters?
Absolutely, I'm going to sound out the letters. So I'm going to see this word, this letter, and I'm going to retrieve the sound. Right? And that's exactly what letter sound correspondence is, right? It's you're seeing the letter and retrieving the sound. A says M says all right? So I'm going to retrieve each sound, And then I'm going to kind of hold those in my memory loop. And then I'm going to blend those together. Man. And of course, that's blending, right? So this combination of letter sounds and blending together with understanding what these words mean, right? That man is, a man. Right? This letter sounds and blending together are decoding. Likewise, kind of the inverse here is encoding, right? So if I hear the word dog, right, or I picture a dog, right, this fuzzy thing that says woof, 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 right? The first thing I've got to do is I've got to retrieve the sound sequence, dog, right? And then I kind of rehearse that in my brain a little bit, dog, 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 right? And then the next thing I've got to do is I've got to break that into its parts. D, ah, g, d, ah, g. And I kind of hold that in my memory for a second, right? D, ah, g. Long enough to actually retrieve or write the letter D, write the letter ah, write the letter g, or maybe to pick that on my keyboard, D, ah, g, right? So it turns out segmenting and letter sounds, right? So being able to separate out the sounds in the word and then being able to find the letter that goes with those sounds is the important skills for encoding or writing single words. So if I really focus in on these three skills, letter sounds, blending, and segmenting, I'm really teaching the most important skills the kids need for decoding and encoding. Of course, I want to be reading with my kids a lot too, and talking about the meaning of the words and all of those things so that they can connect these things with meaning.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I was also wondering at what age you would start teaching these skills.
You know, I love to take the fridge phonics and stick that on the refrigerator about as soon as my kid can crawl to it.
Okay.
So 9 months, a year and a half. There's certainly no age too late, right? But there's no, but about then is about right? The nice thing about that fridge phonics is it really is a nice cause and effect toy. And at about 9 months, babies love cause and effect toys, right? So they take those letters and they shove them in there and it sings A says A, A says A. And so for them, they're playing with it as if it were a cause and effect toy, right? A toy, I put it in there, it makes the sound, but it gives them the opportunity to start making the connection between this shape is an A, it says A, right? This shape is an M, it says and making those connections really early. And then it's so easy, right? I don't have to work very hard as a mom to teach these as long as I make it available and respond when my child is playing with it and say, that's right, baby, that's right. And then, of course, as my child gets a few more letter sounds, I start teaching blending and segmenting. And it just becomes a really natural, easy part of being in our home. Yeah. It's not even really that much work. It's just a matter of holding on to these three skills and knowing what to teach.
Okay. And then how often are you practicing these skills?
You know, I think that is a question depending on kind of the age of your child, right? So, if your child's starting this at 9 months, right, or a year, or even a year and a half, right in there, you just kind of put it on the refrigerator, play with it once a day or something, for a few minutes, and respond when your child does that, right? And then it's a natural part of their environment to learn these things, right? Or you throw the letters in the bathtub and you play with those letters every day, doing letter sounds and blending and segmenting, right? And it becomes such a natural part of their life and your life that it's not something you're adding to your life. It's just a normal part of life. Okay. So I think that's really important. I think if your child is a little bit older, so maybe 4 or 5, or if your child has some challenges with producing speech sounds anyway, then you're going to want to focus in on these speech sounds a little more. So for instance, if they're having a hard time hearing and producing speech sounds, they're going to have a harder time learning letter sounds in the first place, right? So you're going to want to model those a little more. I know as speech therapists, when we really want to help somebody make improvements, we'll work on that at least 3 times a week. Okay. So as parents, if you can spend a few minutes at home working with your kids who need that more intensely, then that's good. But do make sure that you are producing the right sounds, right? This is why we went through each sound and how to produce it. So if you're having a hard time as a parent producing those sounds, go visit your speech pathologist, learn how to produce those sounds yourself so that we're teaching the right skills.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.